Hello everyone, let's Ivan Rendulic is here and on the other screen is Igor Kheifets. Hey Igor, say something to our peeps.
Hey peeps.
Okay, so can we just get a couple of yeses, guys? Do you hear us in chat on the right side of your screen? You should see a chat box. So you just gotta confirm: do you see us and do you hear us loud and clear? Ah, I'm not seeing anything. Igor, do you see something?
No.
I think they're not sure where to write something. Herwe, Eddie, Herwe, Thomas, Sandy, Frank, Maureen, hi, Michael, hi. Can you just
Mike says
okay?
Mike says yours. Yeah.
Yeah, great, guys. Nice to see you here. Okay, so Igor, why don't you tell us and introduce yourself to the industry, to the people, to the attendees, who you are, what's your background, and what are you gonna talk today?
Well, actually, that's usually what the host does, but I guess I'll work for both of us, my friend.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good.
I mean, nobody's better to introduce me than me, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you're just giving me an opportunity to make shit up. That's all. Anyway, if in case you guys haven't heard about me before, my name is Igor Kheifets. I live in Israel, and I've been considered the go-to guy for solo ads and list building within the internet marketing slash make money online slash biz ops space for about a couple of years now. I've also been fortunate enough to mentor your mentor, Mr. Rendulic there. I personally brought him into the business, showed him the ropes, showed him how to build his first sales funnel, and as a result, he blossomed into this mega superstar that he is right now. Having his own clients and his own customers to learn from him. So you're definitely going in the right direction here. And me and Ivan got together a couple of weeks back, and he said, "Would you come and do some nice, pitch-free training for my peeps?" And I said, "Sure, I will, because you're my brother from another mother." And so here I am, on this Google Hangout, delivering some amazing, mind-blowing solo training for you guys. Hopefully, not the last one I'm going to do for you, but this just a start to give you a taste of what's in store. So how about that? Did I meet your expectations? Cool.
I love you, my brother from another mother. What can I say?
All right. Well, so first off, before I kind of just move ahead into the presentation, start sharing my screen, I do want to thank everybody for making it to this hangout. I know it's a middle of a work week. It's Wednesday. Probably some of you guys still hold to your day jobs and got things to do. So Sandy, Robert, Frank, Thomas, Eileen, Maureen, Eddie, Frank. There's this one guy from Croatia who I think I know him, but the name is complicated, so I don't. Well,
It's
maybe you can help. What?
Hrvoje. Hrvoje. Do you mean
Her wife. Yeah. So.
Hrvoje? Yeah, there are two Hrvojes. I'm not sure which one is who, but yeah, they're both online. And there's another girl called Bojana Vizlar. She might be from Slovenia or from Croatia, I'm not sure, but she is close to me. So hi everyone, and thank you so much for coming and joining us on this webinar, because as you probably know, last time we've tried to do this one, well, what was the date, man? It was like Friday? Yeah, last week.
Friday.
And we screw up basically. Webinar jam didn't work as we planned to, so let's call it it was their mistake, not ours. Yeah, so we are redoing this webinar, and Igor agreed that he'll deliver even more goodies this time.
Yeah, I mean that only gave us another week to prepare, and I kind of went through my notes and went through what I picked up in the last 4 years of actually doing solid marketing, and refreshed the presentation. Either way, we're here today, which is what's important. Again, thank you everybody who found the time to come in live, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people watching this recorded. So thank you for taking the time to do this as well. And of course, thanks to the big men up there in Croatia for the opportunity. So without further ado, let me share my screen, and hopefully you will be able to see it right about now. Hold on just a sec.
Yeah.
I gotta allow the plugin. Alrighty. So can you see my presentation, Ivan?
Yeah, I see it. I'm just asking people in the chat, do they see it? Guys, sorry for the caps. They were turned on before I started writing. So just give us a couple of yeses or okays in the chat. Okay, great. Igor, yeah, it works.
Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right in. So this presentation, this training call, this coaching call, whatever you want to put it,
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
is
whoa, whoa, man. We see you right now. We don't see screen anymore. Can you just turn it
okay.
on?
Okay, hold on just a sec. Oh
You
man, let
turned
me.
it off. It was working.
Okay, just Ivan, why don't you tell our audience a joke or something while I'll go ahead and try to figure this thing out.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell you a joke. Okay, I'll try to figure out something. Poof. I don't know. I'm not so good with the joke. Knock knock. Who's there? I don't know. Come on, man,
It's
figure it
Igor
out
and Ivan.
quickly.
It's Igor and Ivan fucking up another trading call. That's who. Okay, let me try again. Let me try. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's try desktop. No, let's try this screen share. How about now?
Okay. Oh, yeah, it's working. It's working. Yeah.
Okay, so if I hit play right here, can you still see it?
No, no, no.
Right, I see what's
But
going
if
on.
you
Every time I, okay, I see what's going on. Just give me a minute. Okay, let's do desktop, start screen share. How about now?
okay. Yeah, it's working. It's working.
All right, see guys, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to make money online. I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point that we're not the sharpest tools in the shed. Me and Ivan. So okay, so
Speak at your.
let's go ahead and dive
Yeah,
in.
go ahead.
So this whole training call is really about the right way to purchase traffic, to approach solo ads as a traffic source, and avoiding the probably the biggest pitfall, which is wasting your money and being taken for a ride by somebody else. Because recently, because of the sheer excitement around the whole solo ad industry, which is of course not without my own help and the help of the students that I've brought into the marketplace, like Ivan, one is one of them, and many others. Starting about a couple years ago, a lot of people have been taking advantage of this method to make money. And so they've built fake lists and fake identities to kind of scam people out of their hard-earned dollars. And so what this webinar is going to be all about is how to tell a legit solo ad source, from a rotten scam, and specifically 7 fail-safe ways to do that. And also, we're going to be discussing some, and breaking some of the conventional myths and misconceptions that people have about solo directories, and it's going to be an eye opener for most of you if you've been buying solo ads recently. So again, this whole webinar is not so much about making the money, but again, just avoiding being scammed and saving you a small fortune, in the money you're going to be investing in traffic, as well as making you more by having you driving only the legit clicks and only the high quality traffic over to your offers, because there's nothing more devastating than to spend 500 bucks on a solo ad only to see that you're not making any sales, and so all your money gone to waste. And trust me, I know, talking from experience here, because so it happens that in the last few years I've invested over $100,000 out of my own personal capital in studying, testing, and mastering, okay, solo ads as a predictably consistent lead generation stream. And again, this is more than just me buying a couple of solo ads and saying, oh, I'm an expert. Okay, I've been doing this thing for a living for years now, and I've seen pretty much everything when it comes to scams and people being taken for a ride in this industry. So again, my whole purpose on this coaching call is, I'm sorry, is to teach you how to protect yourself, protect your wallet, and make sure you don't get trapped in a very nasty situation where no one can actually help you. I mean, if they take your money and run, uh, I mean that's pretty much it. You lost it. That's a costly lesson for you to learn. So another thing we're gonna talk about this coaching call is why soloists are more profitable than Facebook ads and Google AdWords, and how to save a small fortune while converting more opt-ins to sales than you ever could with traditional traffic methods. Then again, I don't consider soloists to be traditional because, well, it's pretty new. I mean, the gurus like the Frank Kern and John Carlton and Jeff Walker and others, they know very little about this traffic source. They really do. They're still focused on Facebook ads. I mean, just as I'm saying this, Mike Filsaim and Andy Jenkins, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ivan, they're launching a new product about Facebook ads where they're like showing how they spent 5 grand and made 50 grand, something like that. Something that's been around for a while. I mean, there's so many people who launched a Facebook-related product that it's just ridiculous. So soloids are
Yep,
still
that is true.
unconventional.
Yep. Andy and they got a support from Frank. It was a huge launch. They charged around $1,000. While I've tested Facebook ads before, and the quality of Facebook ads, the opt-ins are very low, and the biggest result that I ever got was with the solo ads. And I know a couple of big giants in the industries that are using solo ads, but the Andy Jenkins, Mike Filsaim, and Frank Kern are not one of those.
Yeah, so I mean, just like Ivan said, maybe for another market like dog training or parrot training or whatever. I mean, so Facebook might work better than solo ads. But when we're talking about IM, MMO, and BizOp, solo ads are by far and away the most effective traffic source. It's the most cost effective. It's the highest to convert. It doesn't have any bullshit regulations to deal with, as we're going to discuss in a few minutes, and it's just so much faster than anything else I've seen out there. Next, we're also going to be discussing some of the deadly blunders to watch out for that will cost you an arm and a leg if you don't know what you're doing, and a fail-safe method to tell if a click-pushing fraudster tries to play you like a fiddle. Okay. Now, next, we're also going to discuss how why you should avoid all solo directories like the plague, and what sets apart a legit solo source from a rotten scam. A quick warning, okay, we're going to touch upon this a bit, but not go into great detail. There's a new solo fraud epidemic that has infested, and as you can tell, there's also a typo there, so again, not the sharpest tool. Use it as a testament that you don't need to be a rocket scientist to make money from home. There's a new solo fraud epidemic going on in the internet marketing community, and I'm going to be talking specifically how to shield yourself from that and then save your money, because again, it's been created just to suck your wallets dry. I mean, that's all. There's no other purpose. Okay, because there's a lot of people who love to take advantage of honest folks who are just trying to build a business. And last but not least, the only 3 click pools you should fish in for reputable solo sources, and the 2 well-hidden traps you must avoid to keep your pockets full of cash and your autoresponder chock full of prime to buy leads. Okay, now before kind of getting to the meat and potato of this whole thing, if you got any questions, please type those into the chat box or the question box, and Ivan will just interrupt me and ask them. I think that's going to be the best way. We're not going to have any sort of Q&A. We're definitely going to have Q&A at the end of it. But as you think of something, as you got a question that's related to what I'm talking about, don't hesitate to type it into the chat box, and then of course we'll handle that as they come in. So why me, and who Igor really is? Well, you see that in the last 4 years, I've been pretty much making my living by buying and selling solo ad traffic. And like I said, I've established myself as the go-to guy for this type of thing. Also, invested over 100,000 of my own personal money, my own personal cash in solo ads. So I've pretty much seen everything when it comes to solo ads, and I know how an offer can convert and can predict a lot of stuff like that. I've sent out over $1 million worth of clicks from my personal lists for myself and my customers in the form of solo ads, affiliate promotions, my own product launches. Again, this is not bragging. This is more just to show you that what I'm going to be teaching you here is based on real results, that I've got in the trenches, and not so much on the theory, like most of those information products out there are, which is of course unfortunate. Now, I've also personally coached 7 out of every 10 reputable solo ad providers out there who are serving the marketplace right now through the means of my Solo Tycoon mentoring program. And there's a total of 64 average folks who I've helped to go to a full-time income using solo ads as a primary traffic source throughout the last 2.5 years or so. And last but not least, I'm also serving, as we speak, the who's who of internet marketing space. And some of my clients include Devon Brown, the renegade millionaire, Michelangelo Lopez, the crazy Latino guy, Lee McIntyre, who I'm sure you know who that is, Alex Jeffries, a big WSO guy, Anthony Tilley, Jonathan Measle, Rob Stafford, the guy who launched Solo Ad, Inner Circle Solo Ads a couple of times, Miles Seegers and Vic Strizius and Paulo Barroso, who are dominating the Empower Network, Felucia Orokumi, Stuart Ross of Six Figure Mentors, Chad Hamzy, a big media buying guy, and dozens of other people, who we all know, love, cherish, and respect. And you can check out their testimonials on my SoloAd page at igorsoloads.com. So let's go ahead and start off by going through some SoloAds 101. So what is a SoloAd? In case you don't know, a SoloAd is a fixed cost traffic generation method that allows you to rent other people's mailing lists with minimum financial risks. And solo ads are incidentally 100% traffic, 100% email traffic, I'm sorry. And it works best for BizOp, newbie-friendly, make money online offers. And it doesn't quite work well for services such as web design, backlink building, SEO optimization, stuff like that. And tech-savvy offers that require, for you to be tech-savvy to actually use the thing, like Webinar Jam, for example, the software that we've been trying to break our heads around. Just you set up this freaking webinar, or video editing software. This is the kind of stuff that will not do well with the solo ad traffic source. This is the kind of stuff you probably are better off to do on Facebook or other, more sophisticated pools. And of course, a big tip for you, this is a godsend for internet marketers who are doing their work in the make money online niche and the BizOps space, simply because, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, there's so much bullshit regulation going on Facebook and Google AdWords. You see people's accounts being shut down. I mean, I got a friend who is a very successful marketer who you've probably guys all heard about, who's actually running his ads from a fake profile he created for his dog, because his own profile was shut down. So he actually had to create fake profiles just to run his ads on Facebook because of their pain in the ass regulations going on. And whenever you advertise, you can't really say words like money and cash. You can't talk about living the lifestyle like I got this offer. At the bottom of this slide, you see the link. It says thelesbianlifestyle.com. And if you go to their website, it talks about living the lifestyle of a list builder, which means working a few hours a day and enjoying the rest of the day to do whatever you want to do with it, to work with your business or spend time with your family. And so I cannot get that ad approved on Facebook or Google AdWords because that would be considered a business opportunity type ad, and therefore, if you're promoting, say, the My Online Income Revolution, right? You will probably not be able to drive traffic directly to that sales page from Facebook because they'll just going to consider this as a spammy, biz-op-ish type of offer and not going to allow that anywhere near close to their users. So, Ivan, does that make sense so far? Or am I babbling too quick here?
No, everything is okay, but we do not have any questions. So I think that everybody understands you and that you're doing a great job. If any of you guys have any sort of question, and by that I really mean any sort of questions regarding solo ads and driving highly targeted traffic using solo ads, feel free to post that question in chat. And do not hesitate, do not be ashamed of it. Nobody knows answers to everything, okay? So we'll try to give our best answer based on our knowledge and our on our experience in the industry, and that's basically it. But if Igor, we don't have any questions for now, so you're free to go to move forward.
Okay, well, yeah. So this little tidbit here, I only did this because there's probably somebody who's going to be watching this who's not familiar with what soloeds are and how they work. But I'm sure there's a lot of people listening to this call right now who know exactly what this is. So let's just go ahead and continue. Now, before you reach for your credit card, there's a couple of things I want to discuss. First off, you really want to make sure, and this is for some of you is going to sound so simplistic and kind of obvious, but trust me when I say this, that being a solo provider, there's so many people who lose hundreds of dollars on their promotions every single day, pretty much. Just, I'm sorry, just by not setting up their links right, but just by not setting up their funnel redirects right. It just amazes me, you know. So that is why before even considering a solo, make sure that your funnel is redirecting right. So if I opt into your form, I'm going to be redirected to the thank you page. Make sure that the follow-up sequence is being triggered, okay? Because a lot of times what happens that people confuse lists, so they will set up the web form, but we'll be adding people to run lists, so all of a sudden you got 1,000 subscribers that never received the follow-up email with the link. Make sure your buy now buttons work. If that means approaching a friend and asking them to buy your product for you and then refunding them, so be it. Make sure you got some tracking in place. And Ivan, do your members have any tracking in their back office of any sort?
Not as we speak right now, but we are working on putting the tracking inside, so they will have a done for them, tracking service with the instructions and how to use them.
Okay, well, before that happens, make sure that whenever you run a solo, use software such as Etrex Gold or HyperTracker to track your links. Because there's really nothing more important than that, to be honest, in the solo. You never want to trust the solo vendors' traffic tracking because, well, you just never know. I mean, a lot of solo sellers are actually legit, but in the moment of conflict, you definitely want to have your own statistics available to check out to see if they're legit or not. Critical: PayPal funding source should be set to credit card, not PayPal balance. And the reason for that is because if you get scammed by a solo seller and you pay them through PayPal and you start a dispute, PayPal will not protect you. PayPal will not protect you against digital purchases. Therefore, and soloids actually fall into that category. Therefore, you can kiss your money goodbye. And a lot of scammers are actually, they know this and they use this. Okay. Therefore, whenever buying a solo from a stranger, this is not so much about buying a solo from somebody who you know and trust. But maybe you've done business with this person before, so you're feeling comfortable. But if you're buying for the first time, make sure to set the funding source to credit card, because that way, if you do get scammed, you will be able to call your credit card company and report a fraud, and they will pull a chargeback, something that is much more complicated, and usually PayPal will not protect the seller in this case. Okay,
Yeah.
plus it will put the seller in a bad position versus PayPal, so there will be red flags as far as PayPal is concerned for that seller. Okay, because if you get more than 2 or 3 chargebacks a month, being a PayPal, doing business for PayPal, that usually means that you're gonna get shut down very, very soon. Next, before considering somebody, make sure to Google their name plus the term solo ad. Again, sounds kind of obvious, but very few people do that. So go ahead and search for that person. Now, here's the biggest thing that I've discovered in the last 2 years. If you find nothing, no evidence of this person ever selling solo ads before, this is probably the biggest red flag that can come up. If you basically Google them and there's some activity going on, you see that they have a page, and you see that there's some people saying mixed things about them, like both negative and positive. That's okay. If it's all positive, that's also okay. If it's all negative, that's still kind of okay. But if they have no feedback from Google whatsoever, that is probably the biggest red flag anyone can pay attention to, because that means probably that this is one of those one night here today, gone tomorrow type sellers who are just appearing as fake personalities, fake names, take your money and run away, and you just end up chasing the wind after that. Now, point number 7 is also a critical one. It took me a while to figure out, but you should never trust SafeSwaps.com rating system. Because I used to be a member of SafeSwaps and I'm no longer a member there because of that very reason. And I used to swap there when I used to actually swap, but I'm not swapping anymore. And I remember clearly swapping a very respected marketer who actually is out there, has products out there and has reputation built up, respect him very much. And, he approached me after our swap and he said, Igor, what the hell did you send me? I'm like, what do you mean? He says, well, you sent me the crappiest traffic I've ever received. And before I could even, you know, defend myself, if you will, he said, look, um, I'm just gonna leave you a positive feedback if you do the same for me and we'll just part ways friends. Now, what this showed me that there's probably a ton of activity like that happens on Salesforce every single day. So people exchange positive feedback only not to get negative feedback from others, regardless of what their traffic is. Therefore, from that point forward, I decided not to trust the SafeSwaps.com rating and simply operate on this criteria that I've explained to you, a couple of minutes before, on making my decision whether or not to do business with somebody. And last but not least is that epidemic that I was talking about is the broker outage. And what I mean is that there's a lot of people out there who are actually being coached by other marketers to broker clicks. So they will go and they will pretend to have testimonials and to supposedly have traffic that they're selling, but in reality they don't have a list. And what they do, they resell your order to someone else who's willing to do, the order at a cheaper rate, and literally making 10 or 15 or 20 or 50 bucks even per order. So you're just overpaying for the same traffic. Not to mention that you might have already purchased that traffic from someone else, and you don't even know that they're reselling to that same person. So you end up buying two solos from the same list, on the same day. Again, very bad for your pockets. A big no-no for anyone who wants to sell solo ads. Again, that's the last thing I recommend, to broker clicks. That's not a smart thing to do. And I've seen actually my students try to do that and get burned really, really bad, having to refund the order and having to suck it up pretty much, and suffer the financial consequences. But most importantly, you as the customer, as the guy who buys the traffic, or the gal, of course, respectfully, you don't want to overpay for the same traffic to the same people, only through a middleman. Again, this has been going on for the last 6 months or so. It's brand new, and it's as important as ever to be cautious when buying clicks. So next thing we're going to discuss is some of the questions that you should ask before committing to an order. So for one, did you mail this or any similar offer before? So this is especially true for you guys because you are promoting a similar offer, all of you. So whenever you're approaching a solo ad vendor, you can ask them, and you should ask them, when was the last time they dropped a mail out for My Online Income Revolution? If it was less than a week ago or 2 weeks ago, depending on how big the list is, I recommend steering away or delaying the order because they still need to replenish the list with fresh leads in order to deliver some decent results for you. Question number 2, where would I be able to sign up to your list to receive the emails you send out? Okay, this is another important question. I don't tend to ask it anymore myself because I can tell, by experience who's cheating and who's not. But I used to do it a lot, and I would sign up to the person's list before submitting my order just to see if they actually have a funnel, what kind of marketing do they do, are they legit, are they getting people on false pretenses to join their list, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, for one, there was one guy who actually scammed me out of about 560 bucks or so. He's no longer selling solo ads, I made sure of that. And what happened was with this guy, I told him, I approached him, I said, look man, his name was John, and I said, John, I don't want you to send out my ad saying that there's anything free because I'm not offering any free gifts. Okay? And John said, sure, yeah, I totally understand. I will not mail my list saying this is a free offer. And I know that a lot of people do that because that's how they extract more clicks from their list. They just mail and say free crap, click here to get free crap. And I didn't want that because that traffic would not be valuable to me. Okay, because I'm here to sell things, I'm here to make money. Therefore, anyone who's looking for free stuff all the time is not really my cup of tea. And so it happens that I asked John to give me a link to sign up to his list, which he did, and well, basically John messed it up because John mailed his list 2 days later with an email saying, "Hey, free gift." And I opened the email, clicked on the link, and there you go. Lo and behold, my squeeze page is right there. So, and I approached him on Skype and I said, "Hey, John, remember I asked you to do this?" He said, "Yeah, so what the hell?" And he says, "Well, but the opt-in is free. It doesn't cost them any money to enter the email into the box." And so I've got taken for a ride. I didn't get my money back. He stopped responding to my messages and blocked me, but I did make sure to ruin his reputation as much as I could. At the time, I actually, I was very pissed at him, and I did not have that much money to burn. I mean, today I can weigh $500 and say, okay, that's an expensive lesson for me, and not deal with this person anymore and kind of be quiet about it. But back in the day, I didn't have much cash to spend. I was extremely, extremely sensitive about spending my money, and I did not appreciate what this guy has done to me. But then again, that lesson taught me what I'm passing on to you today, and that is always ask this question, sign up to their list, and make sure that they're mailing your offer out in the way you guys agreed. Which brings me to my next question.
Yeah, Igor, I just gotta interrupt you.
Will you be using my swipe?
Yo, man, I just want to interrupt you with something. So before you go ahead and ask the solo ads sellers with all these questions that Igor is saying to you, make sure to read the solo ad page before you ask them. As a solo ad sellers, before when I was selling solo ads, I got a ton of questions which were already answered on the solo ad page. Sure, ask questions that are not answered on the solo ad page. For example, a lot of people are not saying about swipes, where can people opt in, and all that good stuff that Igor is proposing to ask them. But a lot of sellers are saying, how did they build their list? How did they do this? How big is their list? How many clicks can they deliver? And all that stuff. So don't just go blindly outside and ask them a bunch of questions without thinking first. Okay, read the page, see what they have to say, and then go ahead and ask them things that they did not already told you on the sales page, on the solo order page. Okay, Igor, sorry for interrupting. I just wanted to add something on.
Okay, cool. And yeah, that's definitely a valid advice. I mean, I am a stranger myself to having answered the same questions over and over and over again. But yeah, I mean, all in all, the key takeaway here is never assume anything. Okay, never ever assume that the guy is going to be ethical about it and that they're just going to do things the way they promised. Okay. By the way, Ivan, can you guys still hear me? Because I think there was some sort of delay going on.
Yeah, it's all good. I got some questions about it. They hear you twice, but I think it's okay now. They said it. They did hear you twice. The second voice that's coming out from you was like a couple of milliseconds away from first one, but then I got a couple of messages that everything is back to normal. So feel free to continue.
Okay. So the next question you want to ask them is, will you be? By the way, the second voice I think is me and your speakers.
I don't think so. I'm using headphones and I muted myself. So maybe it was that when I muted myself, they said it's okay. So I'm gonna mute myself again. Okay.
All right. Cool. So, will you be using my swipe file, the swipe I'm providing? Now, I personally, as a solo provider, I'm pretty much upfront about the fact that I'm not ever going to be using your swipe. The simple reason for that is, as I'm sure you guys can appreciate, is that I know my list better than any other marketer out there. And if I just mail them with dry, blatant pitches without any sort of interesting things to say, which I usually do, they're not going to respond in the way that I want them to. Therefore, I'm upfront about this. As long as the vendor is upfront about stuff like that, that's cool. But a lot of times what I notice that they'll tell you send your link and swipe over here, but they will never tell you that they will use their own swipe. Okay, and again, this is critical stuff because the swipe in itself can actually serve as a great warm-up to the person who's going to be seeing your offer, and can play a major role in the making a buying decision or not. Because maybe there's somebody who's interested in starting an eBay business, and the swipe that the vendor is going to be sending out doesn't contain the word eBay, so they kind of skip it, but your offer does. You see, so you definitely wanna make sure of that kind of stuff with these little nuances, before you. By the way, this is all before you exchange cash. Okay, this is before you send them any money whatsoever. Okay, before money exchanges hands. Now, question number 4 would be, what's the estimated delivery time frame, and what happens if you don't deliver within the agreed time frame that you're promising? And this is a great question because a lot of times people will tell you, oh, I'm going to deliver your traffic very, very fast in less than 48 hours. You know, and you're like, okay, great, it sounds amazing. Let's roll. But what happens is they don't deliver the traffic at 48 hours. They'll tell you they got technical difficulties, they got tied up in the airport, their kid got sick, their dog ate their homework, whatever. They'll make up excuses, and you end up waiting for the traffic. So the way I like to operate, I like to guarantee the traffic to be delivered within 72 hours of the send out time, which we agree upon. As soon as the order comes through because of my schedule, and if I don't do that, they ask for refund. Again, very upfront about this stuff. And if at any point the solo ad vendor starts acting funny one bit about answering these questions, beware. Okay, that's a red flag right there. I mean, I've seen solo vendors, uh, actually bad solo vendors. Again, they're not people who are selling anything right now because they kind of drove their own reputation to the ground. But I've seen them actually respond in a very aggressive way if you would come and ask them these questions. They would literally tell you to go to hell. And it was funny because these are legitimate questions that any new customer, is expected to want to know before doing business with you. Just like whenever you make a decision which plastic surgeon you want to cut open your wife's chest, right, and do the boob job. In case you had that experience, or if you wanna, if you wanna remove a bad tumor, you definitely want to ask your surgeon if he has credentials and how he's gonna do it, and whether he has a plan, and whether he's done surgeries like that in the past. So it's all just natural things to ask. And a lot of people, like I said, they just take advantage of the whole solo craze. Therefore, these questions will help you identify who's legit and who's not. Ivan, do you have any questions? Do you want to add anything, perhaps? Ivan?
Oh, okay. Do you hear me now? I was muted. Yeah, I don't have any questions. I do know all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just watching. Do they have a question? And we don't have any questions popping out. So I think we are good, man. Whenever somebody answers something, the last problem was the noise problem. So whenever somebody asks something, I'll shoot you a message. I'll unmute myself and shoot you a message. So don't worry, you're all good for now. But guys, don't be ashamed. Okay, just pop the question. Just ask us anything. Just ask Igor. He's here to help.
Yeah, that's why they call me Kheifets. I'm answering questions. By the way, guys, I mean, Joe Polish once said, "There's no stupid questions. There are stupid people asking questions." He kind of said it jokingly, but I completely agree with him because when you're starting out with this, there's really no such thing as a stupid question or a silly question, because until you ask, you can't really get the answer, and you'd be surprised what kind of silly questions Ivan asked me when we were getting started. I mean, I used to spend, we used to
That is not
chat for
true.
like hours and hours on Skype, on me just answering silly questions for Ivan. So it's
No,
totally
no,
cool.
no,
We
no.
all started.
No, that's
we
not
we all
true.
started. Okay, well, okay, well.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I always
Um,
ask smart questions, and actually, when I signed up with Igor, he was asking questions to me. So yeah, that's true.
well, what I'm trying to say is this: you are encouraged to ask very specific questions about whatever we're discussing in this webinar, and even if it's something that's been bugging you for a while, that is not related to this webinar. Because unless the question is being answered, you will not progress forward. And if you're the kind of person who wants to progress aggressively, if you want to move forward in your business very quickly, and with the least friction as humanly possible, you need to get into the habit of asking questions all the time. In fact, I encourage you to harass whoever your upline is, or whoever your support is, with that, because that's the only way you can guarantee faster progress in your business.
And with
I assure
that
you,
being said,
nobody.
Igor, we have one question from Michael. Michael, congrats on popping the question first. So he's asking, do you prefer to use your own swipe or you leave it to the seller? Igor, I think the question is being directed to you.
Right. Well, I've actually answered this question. Oh, right. I see what you mean, Mike. I see what you mean. So whenever I buy a solo, whether I prefer my own swipe or the seller swipe, well, the thing is that I learned that lists respond to their list owners and to whoever mails the list, and to their specific style. And therefore, I no longer demand for the solo provider to use my swipe. Because at the end of the day, they do commit to deliver a certain amount of clicks in a certain period of time. But I do give them guidelines, such as don't use any words such as free or gift in my email, because I don't give anything away in my squeeze page. Don't promise overnight riches, because this is not a get rich quick scheme, and stuff like that. So I just give them general guidelines on what the theme of the email is going to be, but not so much, anything specific.
Okay,
But that's a great question.
can you answer the questions as aside from, like, if you were a My Income Revolution member, how would you approach the solo ad seller? And when you answer that one, we got another one saying, also as a seller, do you prefer to send your list the buyers Michael, also as a seller, do you prefer to send your list the buyers pre-write and swipe? Michael, can you just rephrase the question, because I'm not sure did I understand it quite right? Okay.
All right. So while Mike does that, I just wanted to first off to thank Mike, because this was a high quality question regarding the swipe. Okay, and usually the quality of our questions really determines the quality of the answers, and thus the quality of the progress we're going to experience. And so, like I said, I do give general guidelines. I don't force them to use my swipe. But if I was a My Own Income Revolution member, what I would do is, since everybody else out there who's my fellow members in the program are using the pre-written swipes, and most people will, that's just how most people are, they will go the easy route and use the pre-written swipes, I'd probably write my own swipe and run it through the vendor before running the ad and saying what does he think about it and whether he's going to be able to send it out as is, and if he feels he needs to change it, let him change it first and then mail it back to me for approval. And this way, I would get the best of both worlds. I would both promote the program in the way I want it, and then also maintain the promotion to a theme that the list is used to, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. And in the meantime, we got another question. Neboisha, I think it's Neboisha. Neboisha, I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong, but I think it's Neboisha. So is there a way to earn money without spending money? So that's actually a great question. A lot of people would and can relate to that question. And Igor, I'll let you answer that question.
Is there a way to make money without spending money?
Exactly.
Is that the question? Okay. Well, there is a way to do that, and that is called a job. And the reason I say that is because in business, you need to be able to buy customers. Because if you're kidding yourself thinking you can get customers with free traffic without spending money, you're just kidding yourself, because your competition will always outperform you, and you will look stupid to your customers. I mean, my business really started blooming and blossoming only after I mastered paid traffic. Okay, it's only then that the people really took me seriously, because usually that means that if the guy's willing to spend money on his business and advertise himself through paid advertising, that means he's worth something. And if he's not, then it probably means that he's full of it, right? And in our industry, where 99% of people preaching prosperity are not prosperous, that is even more critical than ever before. And so the reason I say that there is a way to make money online without spending money, and it's called a job, is because you can just go and you can work for other people and other marketers who are making money right now and just do their dirty laundry, so to speak. do their technical setup, do their blog, do their content creation, whatever the case, whatever they need help with, and they're willing to pay for it, whether hourly or with a set pay, you can actually go ahead and do that. I mean, I employ right now quite a few people on my team. It's not massive; it's only like 6 or 7 people big, but I'm still employing some folks who are getting paid by the hour. Okay, others are being paid by performance, but either way, to them, it's a job. Okay, they're working from home, but it's still a job. They don't call the shots. They need to tell me what they're supposed to be doing today. They need to report back to me. They're not their own bosses. And if you're joined my only income revolution, I can only assume that you're the kind of person that is looking to become your own boss, that is looking to live life on your own terms, and thus you can use this job thing as a temporary way to fund your business forward. Because I did that. I actually, did jobs for other marketers who had the money to spend. I wrote their copy, I wrote their emails, I built their squeeze pages. Like I did a lot of stuff like that, only to make some money to put towards my business. But eventually, I wanted to be the guy who's outsourcing. I wanted to be the guy who calls the shots. I wanted to be the guy who gets to take to rent a luxurious 50-foot yacht with his wife while his team is doing all the hard work.
Okay, sounds good. And in the meantime, man, we got a lot of questions right now. So Robert, when you're at the very start with the building your own mailing list and buying solo ads, how much money is recommended to start? Many people are at financial crisis at the time.
Okay, that's not a great question. In fact, I bet it's something that's on the mind of many of our listeners today. And again, I'm no different to this situation because when I was getting started, I was working as a security guard on a highly toxic, plant to be basically afraid of growing a third leg or something every time I went to work, and I definitely did not have too much money to spend. So there's two things to say about that. First, you gotta find the money. Okay, so if you don't have the money right now, you simply have to find a way to get it. Whether it means getting another job, looking for activities online where you can do some activities for other big marketers like I've just explained a minute before, or borrowing the money on a credit card. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But I assure you, there's no easy way to go about it. I mean, think about it. In order to start successfully, actually, let me ask you, Ivan. Um, Given my mentoring fee and the traffic expenses and whatnot, how much money did it actually take you to go from a standing start? That's after you were done with the whole AdSense thing, right? From a standing start with list building, with what I taught you, to making, say, a full-time income for Croatia that's like $1,000, probably $500. Let's just say to making $3 grand a month. Okay, so how much money did it take you?
Besides mentoring fee,
No, including the mentoring fee.
at a time, I think like $4,000 altogether.
Okay, great. Great. So let's just even it out at five. So even if
Okay.
it took you $5 grand to get the 3K per month, that's still peanuts because you first off you make all that money back once you make it very
No.
quickly, and today I'm sure you've made more than that in a single day probably at this point. And
Yeah.
the second thing that's really important to remember, that's still so much less compared to a traditional business. Because if you want to start, say, a McDonald's franchise, you still have to fork out like $300,000 just to get a ticket to a hamster wheel. You know,
No.
so and you don't get to keep all the profits anyway. You only get keep a portion of that. So it is going to take you what, like 20 or 40 years to pay that off. So your kids are going to enjoy that. Well, to hell with that. I mean, this business, although it might seem expensive to folks at one point, it's still so inexpensive and so low risk compared to a traditional business that it's just ridiculous. And Robert, while I do appreciate the position where you're coming from here, you still have to put things into perspective and realize that to spend 5 or even 10 grand to get to a full-time income of 3 to 5K per month is still peanuts compared to how much money you're going to be making starting from that point forward till the rest of your life.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Okay, we didn't get any new questions. Sammy, thanks for coming, and I'm sorry to see you leaving. There will be a recording, so Igor, you can continue with the webinar, with the workshop. Guys,
Okay.
hope that we answered the questions for now, and at the end of this webinar will be our questions and answer session where you can ask us anything again.
All right. Well, again, guys, good. I applaud you for finally kind of stepping out of your shell and asking the questions. This is really cool. I like that. I like it when the audience is engaged with me and not just listening to me as if and rolling their eyes and saying, "Oh, this Igor guy. Once the presentation is going to be over, he's going to give me a free some freebie to go and get." So I appreciate that. Now, an extra time checklist is something I did because of the, right now everyone has the FIFA craze. So kind of last minute checklist, if you will. You definitely want to buy in small chunks, which means that, no more than 300 to 500 clicks at a time. I personally never go and never buy more than 1,000 clicks from a single vendor. The very first run with a new vendor, um, I recommend doing 200 clicks. 100 clicks is usually not enough to really know anything. And 200 clicks is a good number to use to kind of identify whether the list is a good fit for your offer. Next, you definitely want to send to a squeeze page first because you will make more sales through the follow-up sequence. Because usually it takes a few instances, a few exposure, I guess, on multiple occasions to really get the person to move along. You definitely want to cloak your link on your end to track. So like I said before, if there's a conflict, you definitely want to rely on your own tracking statistics, not on the tracking statistics of the solo provider. And you definitely want to ask for testimonials and case studies from customers. Okay, customers, that's very important, from customers, not from other solo sellers or people they swapped with. Because a lot of people, especially on safe swaps, they will give you testimonials of other list owners they swapped with, which is not the same. So you definitely want to get case studies and testimonials from the solo vendor, from their customers, and not other solo sellers. And of course, goes without saying, a clear mailing date confirmation. So you want them to commit to you in writing saying how your solo will go out on this date, and a guarantee that if by this date I don't deliver the clicks, I'll either resend you more clicks or I'll give you your money back. Now, next thing, the solo pools you can trust. And there's only three places that I go to look for, for solo providers, and that is the Warrior Forum Classifieds, the secret Skype and Facebook groups, and the Solo Directory by Reed Florin. And you can see the links on your screen right now. Plus, of course, I'm going to make the presentation mate in as a PDF file available for you to download, so you will be able to get clickable links for that. Now, like I said before, you really want to avoid safeswaps.com because of their misleading rating system, often saturated lists, and also the so-called solo marketplaces. Because the solo marketplace, there's really no feedback you can get. It's literally just well, just operating based on price or something. I mean, I've tried. There's like a bunch of these marketplaces right now where they pretend to be solo marketplaces, but there's no activity going on. So again, I recommend personally to stick to these three places, and this is where you go to go ahead and find decent solo providers. Now, some other useful tips. The click price range is going to be between 45 cents and 90 cents a click, and anything that goes beyond $1 is usually premium quality, but then again, it has to be backed up with testimonials and case studies. You also want to remember that you do get what you pay for, which means that if the solo vendor is selling you clicks at like 30 cents or 25 or 24, 28 cents a click for 34, 40, that should be a red flag for you, because that means they're so not confident that they can get more money at their list by promoting something, that they're willing to undersell and sell traffic at a very cheap price, just to get the sale, just to get the solo going, just to make some money from that list. So again, stay away from those. Another thing that you always want to judge how successful the solo went by ROI. And I see a lot of people saying how I ran a solo and I got 13 subscribers. Oh, that's amazing. That's the most subscribers I've ever got. But at the end of the day, you're on a business to make a profit. You're on a business to make money, and therefore, you would only want to judge how successful the soloist is based on the ROI you're getting. So money invested divided by money collected. So in my case, if I collect less than 50% of the money back on the solo, to me that's a bad solo, and I'm probably not going to come back. If I'm sure that my offer converts well, or if I'm still at the testing stages of my offer, then I'm probably going to go back and try and tweak the offer in order to, to get higher ROI. But I guess that's one of the secrets to my success, because this is, I've always operated in numbers and not on hunches. And I see a lot of people lose a ton of money submitting huge orders with people based on hunches rather than on ROI and previous track record. That is just, it's painful to watch. It's painful to see a lot of money being lost and people just kind of throwing money at the wall and hoping it sticks, versus judging their results by cold hard numbers. Now, I also recommend you collect additional revenue to help offset the traffic costs through affiliate promotions and CPA promotions. And I'm not sure if there's a training module for that inside the Online Income Revolution. If not, then I'm sure Ivana is going to be doing something like that in the near future. But I do recommend to not just rely on Online Income Revolution to make money, but also promote other things, because not everyone will join the Online Income Revolution. It's just the case. I mean, there's no offer out there that everyone and their brother is going to jump on, no matter how great the offer is. So you might as well promote other things to hit other segments of your list, if that makes sense. And of course, I also want you to encourage, this is not conventional wisdom, most of the people don't do it, but I encourage you to encourage your subscribers to reply to your emails and strategically move them to a different media as soon as possible, like Skype, Facebook, or phone. And what I mean by that is that a lot of times you'll close a lot of sales and win over a lot of relationships and a lot of big pocket and deep pocket prospects, if you will, by simply showing that you're different and that you care through other media. And the Skype, Facebook, and phone is the relationship building media, because Facebook is where you go to chat with friends. Skype is something you use to call family overseas, and phone is something again you use on a day-to-day basis, while most marketers are strategically hiding behind their emails and behind their digital media and kind of not willing to go out there and to put their name out there. I encourage you to be different and get a conversation going on. Okay, so sending emails to your list, if you see that they're not responding for a while, by day 7 and by day 10 through a follow-up sequence, send them an email that simply gets them to reply to the email and say something like, an email something like, hey name, I noticed you've been on my list for like 10 days, but you haven't really, said hi or anything. So, if you're still interested in making money through list building, or if you're still interested in making money through affiliate marketing, just reply with a yes to this email and I'll share more information with you. And you'll be surprised just how many people will hit reply and say yes. Yes, Ivana, I want to know more. Yes, Igor, I want to know more. Tell me more and let's talk, let's chat. Because a lot of them are afraid. They are skeptical. There's a lot of fraud out there, and they're simply overtaken by fear and by this risk of being taken for a ride. Simply because that's the nature of the beast, Okay, well, that's pretty much it, and I kind of ran through it pretty quickly, I know, but this is the best time for you guys to submit some questions, and while you do, what I want to do is I want to kind of give you a gift for being, here, for sitting through and for listening to my annoying voice. What I want you to do is I want you to go to thenewkingofinternetmarketing.com/swipe file and download a confidential subject line swipe file that contains 11 subject lines that I'm using in my email marketing right now that will easily double your email response. This is a set of proven subject lines that never fail. So I really want you to have it, no strings attached, and use it in your business so you can make more money.
Also, guys, just for the information, I'll go ahead and download these files and update it inside my Income Revolution back office, where you'll be able to download it. If you're watching this inside my Income Revolution back office, you'll be able to see it below this video. Okay, there is a link that says WAV file from Igor, and you can click on it and download these files here as well.
Okay, well, that's pretty much it in terms of what I wanted to say. And of course, you guys are welcome to shoot any questions over. You can also see my Facebook profile here, and when you do submit a request to join the secret Facebook group that I got set up for legitimate solo ad providers, make sure to drop me a message at facebook.com/help-to-succeed and let me know that you've been to this webinar so I approve you, because that is the kind of room that I don't just approve anybody, because otherwise it would be, a scam fest. I'm keeping things very selective, very intimate, and very private. So make sure to drop me a message saying, Igor, I've just applied to your Facebook solo group. Please approve me, and I'm one of Ivan's customers. And just so in case you know what I'm talking about, this is the link. Okay.
Okay, Igor, just copy and paste that link in the chat room and give them a link so that they have it in the chat room so that people which were on the webinar, they can click on the link right now and request the access.
Oops.
Opa, here we go.
Okay, hold on. This is not it. Hold on. I'm gonna do a sticky message.
Sticky, do the sticky one. I know you love it.
Right.
Okay.
It's sticky.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you have any questions, or will you just let me go and let me enjoy the rest of my day?
Well, let's see. We'll give you guys like a minute, okay, to ask the questions. As you probably can figure it out, Igor is very okay. We have one question. How can I build my own highly targeted list if I'm on a budget and can only spend a certain amount of money on solo ads per month? That's the question from Aileen from South Africa. Correct me if I'm wrong, Aileen, but I'm sure you're from Africa. So she's suggesting that she would like to use classified ads and Facebook. Those are the question marks. So what would you suggest, Igor?
Well, for one, I would basically make sure that my offer converts, and that on the back end, I have additional income streams set up to further monetize the lead. And so what happens is people think that in order to make a lot of money through internet marketing, you got to make thousands and thousands and thousands of sales. But in reality, you need to make fewer sales, but you need to make more money per sale. Therefore, if you if you find that one customer that is willing to spend money with you, you must stack up the customer value in a way, right? So in other words, in my business, one customer can be worth to me as little as $7 and as much as several thousand, depending on where they are in my going through my funnels. So that's done through upsells, through cross sells, through affiliate promotions, and therefore, like I said, besides my online income revolution, which will make you a certain amount of money, you also want to monetize the list further with affiliate marketing and through other means such as CPA. Also, in a week from today, probably or so, I will be releasing a product called Small List Big Profits, and that is a revolutionary discovery that I made in my business that really took me to the internet marketing superstardom that I recommend you check out as well, because it will help you monetize your small list for, like I said, big profits whenever you need them. But that's still not live yet. It's still not released, and I'm still working on it, so it's gonna take some time. But there's ways, I assure you, Eileen, there's ways to monetize it even on a small budget. Plus, like I shared with, I believe that was Robert, if you don't have a lot of money to invest in your business, get another source of income to have the money, whether a credit card, a business loan, go do some work for other big marketers, go on Elance or Odesk and offer jobs, go on the Warrior Forum to the Warriors for Hire section and say that you can do this, this, and that. Go on Fiverr and offer blog commenting for $5 or shooting videos for $5. You can even sell testimonials for $5 on Fiverr. There's actually people out there who are going and looking for other people to review their product, and they're willing to pay you $5 to shoot a review for their product. Again, this is easy money, and if you're really that strapped for cash, I recommend you look into that opportunity.
Yeah. But as a member of My Income Revolution, as Eileen is, what makes the difference between making like a small chunk of money back from each and every Solid purchase and a larger sum and breaking even or making a huge profit is positioning yourself in the opportunity that you are in. So if you have if you have a higher level since My Income Revolution, obviously you'll be eligible to get higher payouts. And our first levels are recurring income, which is very important when you're buying Solid because one sale can bring you a lot of profits in couple of future months. And this is what I had to add on Igor's answer.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Eileen, anybody else?
I'm assuming there's no questions, which is okay. I mean, you guys can always approach me by Facebook. You can just go to facebook.com/Igor Helps You Succeed, or better yet, visit igorsolowitz.com because there's a lot of common questions answered there. Or obviously you can contact by email at igor@igorsolowitz.com, and my longtime traffic officer Justin will be able to assist you with any questions you've got. Either way, from what it looks like, I think it was a great webinar. I do appreciate everyone's being very engaged with what's going on. We're literally just 1 hour and 20 minutes from the FIFA game starting here, so which means I gotta go get myself prepared. So if we don't have any other questions, I'd appreciate if Ivan, if you could go ahead and let me go, and
Yeah,
so I can
Igor.
send you the stuff.
Yeah, you gotta go prepare yourself. Guys, just one more note from me. The igorsolaz.com will be available if you're watching this inside My Income Revolution back office below this video, so you can easily go to Igor Solaz and get one of the highest quality traffic from Igor's himself. And Igor, I want to thank you for being here with us for 1.5 hours almost, and for delivering the knowledge on purchasing Solaz. Thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Here you go. This is me again. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, the quality of our results do depend on the quality of our questions. So guys, don't be afraid of asking high quality questions, uncomfortable questions, questions that may not make sense to, to many folks out there. Don't be shy ever to do that. And I assure you, the more questions you ask, the deeper understanding you will get from this industry, and the faster results will follow on that.
Okay, man. We'll let you go now. Go prepare yourself and talk to you soon. Bye, man.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye. And thank you guys for coming. We'll sign off now and we'll shoot you a reply message. Bye-bye.
Bye.